That's working.
Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. There we go. All right. We are co-creating here. A little bit of last minute PowerPoint. So let's all take a deep breath in and then out with an audible sigh. As we ground ourselves right here. So I'm going to start again. Good morning. Good morning. All right. Let's join in our tradition of sharing the signs and words of God's peace and with those around you first by saying them together. Shalom. Shalom. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam. Namaste. Namaste. Paz. Paz. Peace be with you. And also with you. Greet one another. Paz. As most of you know, I'm Reverend Vicki Elder, and it's my joy and honor to welcome you to Unity of Monterey Bay, a beloved community co-created with love and intention that welcomes all people, all races, nationalities, cultures, and religions. Whatever your immigration status, sexual orientation, gender identity, or family configuration, and or abilities. Whether you're here with us in person or joining us virtually, we know that love knows no boundaries. We are one in spirit. As a purpose-driven church, Unity of Monterey Bay is an inclusive spiritual community committed to co-creating an environmentally sustainable, spiritually fulfilling, socially just, and compassionate human presence on this planet. We celebrate our oneness and honor the God of each of our understanding, affirming the innate good and divine essence within each and every individual. Would you please join me in our statement of faith? There is only one presence and one power in the universe, God the good, expressing as infinite God beyond us, infinite God beside us, inner God being us, divine love in action. As we allow this knowing to deepen within our souls and serve to awaken us into enlightenment for the benefit of all living beings, we share this Native American prayer from the Xavier College Native American Resources. It's called Earth, Teach Me. Earth, teach me quiet, as the grasses are still with new light. Earth, teach me suffering, as old stones suffer with memory. Earth, teach me humility, as blossoms are humble with beginning. Earth, teach me caring, as mothers nurture their young. Earth, teach me courage, as the tree that stands alone. Earth, teach me limitation, as the ant that crawls on the ground. Earth, teach me freedom, as the eagle that soars in the sky. Earth, teach me acceptance, as the leaves that die each fall. Earth, teach me renewal, as the seed that rises in the spring. Earth, teach me to forget myself, as melted snow forgets its life. Earth, teach me to remember kindness, as dry fields weep with rain. And please join me in affirming, thank you, God, for this most amazing day. Miracle follows miracle, and wonders never cease. And finally, as we do every week, we now celebrate and bless the children, all those in our families and our spiritual community, as well as in our larger community, all the children in the world, as well as that inner child within each one of us. We open our hearts wide and we see them protected and resilient, creative and joyous, evolving and loved as we join in our heartfelt blessing. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you just the way you are. And now taking a deep breath in and letting it out with an audible sigh. As we center ourselves to embrace this blissful interconnection with Spirit and invite the chime to call us into this sacred space within. We ring the chime 4 times, call in the 4 directions, and remind us of our interconnection with all of creation and with the sacred circle of life. As we feel it resonate through our very beings, we follow its call into this now present moment within. Continuing to focus on our breath, with each inhale, we open our hearts and minds. We envision our breath reaching every cell of our being. And with each exhale, we see all barriers and obstacles dissolving into this divine flow. Again, as we inhale, we expand the spaciousness within us. We move beyond the limitations and boundaries of our bodies. And as we exhale, we ground ourselves deep within Mother Earth and into our oneness with the universe. Finally, we breathe our awareness into the highest expression of love, light, joy, and peace we can imagine, as we experience a transforming wave of gratitude, and with a fullness of heart, we say yes to it all, embracing, claiming, and knowing the divine Christ Spirit expressing in, through, and as us. And with a final exhale, we say thank you, God. Now fully centered and transformed by the power of Spirit, we enter into our lesson and meditation time with today's daily word.
We read from today's Daily Word, shared with permission of Unity, publisher of Daily Word, that can also be found at dailyword.com. And the word is radiance. Aligned with my divine nature, I am a beacon of light for others. God is the light in my life. I give thanks every day for the wondrous blessings of the divine and the peace and strength I derive from my faith. I am a spiritual being, fully human and fully divine. The light of God shines from within me. My confidence grows as I embrace my divine nature. As I live and love more fully and authentically, the joy within me multiplies and I become simply radiant. The world can feel dark and dull and needs all the light and sparkle it can get. As greater numbers of people discover the power of God within them and express the fullness of their true spiritual selves, the world will glow with our collective radiance. And from the scriptures, you will do well to be attentive to this as to a lamp shining in a dark place, until the day dawns and the morning star rises in your hearts. 2 Peter 1:19.
Wisdom of the universe.
contrast of the sacred, we read from 3 North American indigenous peoples' traditions on this morning's topic, Indigenous Earth Wisdom. From the Onondaga Nation, we are keepers of the fire, passed down from father to son for centuries untold. We are the shepherds of a way of life that puts cooperation over competition, recognizing that we are all related and that our survival is dependent upon cooperation. And from the Duwamish and Squamish, the earth does not belong to man. Man belongs to the earth. All things are connected, like the blood that unites us all. Man did not weave the web of life. He is merely a strand in it. Whatever he does to the web, he does to himself. From Chief Seattle. And from the Lakota Sioux, the Red Nation shall rise again, and it shall be a blessing for a sick world, a world filled with broken promises, selfishness, separations, a world longing for light again. I see a time of 7 generations when all of the colors of mankind will gather under the sacred tree of life, and the whole earth will become one circle again. In that day, there will be those among the Lakota who will carry knowledge and understanding of unity among all living things, and the young white ones will come to those of my people and ask for this wisdom. I salute the light within your eyes, where the whole universe dwells. For when you are at that center within you, and I am in that place within me, we shall be one. Crazy voice.
Call and response called I Am the Earth. So please repeat after me. I am the earth. I am the earth. The earth is a healer. The earth is a healer. The earth is a mother. The earth is a mother. The earth is a
slide thing. No, it's not, but now it is. Okay, all of the apparati
Stuff.
are turned on. That reminds me, I heard this, was it Kay sent me this comedian, and he was talking about Jesus, and he used my favorite term, Jesus, like one Jesus, many Jesus. Isn't language fun? That was actually my Christian scriptures teacher that I got that from. Well, as you know from my last 2 lessons, my son Alexander and I have been getting braver and braver and more adventurous with our hikes this summer. It's really been just an amazing summer for us. We are now doing regularly like 2 6 or 8 mile hikes per week and exploring new places that we've never been to before. About a month ago, we decided to check out a state park that I had just heard of, called BUTANO State Park, which is located in Pescadero. And if you don't know where Pescadero is, it's about halfway between Davenport and Half Moon Bay on the San Mateo County coast. Now, locals disagreed with how to pronounce it because I asked some locals, and one told me BUTANO, and one told me BUTANO. So, BUTANO.
I used to work there.
You did not. Okay, we'll talk about that later. BUTANO. Okay, let's say BUTANO. We'll choose that one for now. So, unfortunately, BUTANO State Park is one of the least visited state parks in the California State Park system. And I say unfortunately because it is so very beautiful and very remote and not a lot of crowds. Alexander and I hiked through lush redwood. Nope. Okay. I want to make sure I'm on the right slides here. Alexander and I hiked through lush redwood forests and Douglas fir forests, and then up to the top of the ridge where we got some beautiful views of the surrounding hills covered in trees and of the fog layer over the ocean. If it weren't foggy, we would be able to see the ocean there in the background. But as we know, it is often foggy. I got some really great pictures. Isn't that gorgeous? Beautiful, right? Okay, and then there's this one. Now, if anyone can tell me what that thing is, center, lower, I think I captured an alien. Do you see that?
Yes.
I mean, I understand there's a reflection off of the lens or whatever, but what the heck is that?
It's a fairy.
Forest fairy.
It's something.
It's the forest fairy.
It's like a little forest fairy. I got home and I was like, that was not there. Do you see it? It's like kind of bluish. It may not be showing up as well on the
It looks very well.
Oh, okay. I was like, where did that come from? It's always interesting. At any rate, we hiked up to the top of this ridge, and in addition to the beautiful views, we came upon the burn scar from the 2020 CZU Lightning Complex fire, which I talked about a lot last week. The area of BUTANO, did I say right? BUTANO? It would be sort of the northwest section of the fire. The burn scar stretches from Pescadero over to Boulder Creek and Felton and all the way down to Bonnie Dune. So we got to see close up what some of those areas look like now after the burn. As you can see, the oaks and fir trees did not fare as well as the redwood trees did. And if you don't know why, I refer you to last week's lesson about Big Basin. It was nevertheless beautiful, a sort of different kind of beauty, like a stark kind of haunting beauty. But what ended up being most interesting to me about BUTANO State Park is what I learned the next day when I was recovering from the 8-mile hike that we did in bed and reading the brochure that they give you when you go in. You know, these brochures that they give you have quite a lot of information. And it talked about the CZU fires and the history of the BUTANO Park area. And this is when I learned about Quiroste people. But before I get to the Quiroste people, I want to explain a little bit about Native American tribes on the Central California coast from San Francisco to the Monterey Bay area. And this is stuff that I'm just now learning myself, so bear with me if I make a mistake. I tried really hard to make sure I got my information correct. So, when the Spanish explorers and missionaries arrived in this part of California in the late 18th century, they encountered the territories of native peoples stretching from San Francisco Bay down to Monterey Bay, all of whom spoke languages that were related from the same language group, okay? Now, it seems that each tribe had their own language, and it's not clear whether people from different villages or different tribes could understand one another, but the languages were related. If you think about kind of the same way that Spanish and Italian and French are all Romance languages, but you can't necessarily understand each other if you speak those languages, I think that's kind of the way these languages were related. And so ethno-linguists, they group people together by the languages that they speak. So these tribes stretching from the San Francisco Bay to the Monterey Bay were originally called the Costanoa, which means people of the coast. But from about the 1960s on, the term Ohlone began to be preferred over Costanoa. And Ohlone referred to all of the people speaking languages from that language group, okay? Now, it is my understanding that the people of these different tribes, they didn't really think of themselves as being part of a greater tribe. That's kind of a classification that has been made after the fact. They had individual tribal identities, but nevertheless, they shared linguistic and cultural ties. And so these subgroups, tribes that actually thought of themselves as being separate, are often called Ohlone tribelets. Okay? Now, the tribes who lived in the Santa Cruz Mountains are called Owaswas. And this is a subgroup, a sub-tribelet of the Ohlone. And within the Owaswas, there were various tribelets. The Quiroste people, and with this thing. The Quiroste people were a tribelet within the Owaswas group who spoke a Mutsun language, again a subgroup of the Ohlone. And Mutsun is a language that was spoken by the people at the San Juan Bautista mission. Now I want to explain one other thing that I have just learned in the past couple weeks, and I think it's amazing that I grew up in California and went to California schools and did not know this. The people that are called Ohlone today are really a mixed group, and here's why. They are descendants of people from all the different tribes who were taken into the missions. And in the missions, they intermixed with one another. So now, people who are Ohlone are really a mix. That seems like an important fact, and I can't believe that I didn't know that sooner. But I'm learning. So there are really no people today who identify as Quiroste, and I'm going to tell you what happened to them in just a minute. But the Quiroste did live for thousands of years in what's called the Quiroste Valley, which is the area near Pescadero and Año Nuevo where BUTANO State Park is today. The Quiroste people lived there for thousands of years, and during that time they tended and stewarded the land and the many resources that it contained. It's believed that this was a seasonal home for them, probably where they spent the warmer months, like the summer. And while they were there, they hunted game, they harvested plants, they dined on a variety of seafoods, and they traded or sold coastal resources to their inland neighbors, and they used shell beads as money. Okay, so they were there in the summers, and they were harvesting things from the ocean and selling them to their inland neighbors. Over the millennia that the Quiroste people lived there, they developed many practices of tending the land. They didn't cultivate crops in the sense of planting them and then harvesting them, what we would call farming. It wasn't quite that, but they did have practices practices that greatly altered the land. One of these practices was using controlled burns. By burning large sections of the land, they ensured that the game and the plants that they needed to survive would thrive. For example, burns helped the hazelnuts and acorns that they relied on for food to proliferate, and burning also improved the plants that fed the deer, pronghorn, and tule elk that they hunted. So they were improving the plants that brought the game, okay? Now, the Quiroste people, of course, knew and understood that wildfires were part of nature. And so they used controlled burns to alter the land in a way that helped them to survive. And obviously, lands that had already been burned would not rage out of control should a wildfire start again, right? So the Quiroste lived, I can only assume happily and successfully for thousands of years on those lands. Then in 1769, when the first Spanish explorers landed in California, there was a man called Gaspar de Portola, and he led an expedition to discover Monterey Bay. The first contact with native people that Portola made was with the Quiroste people. In his writings, Portola estimated the size of the Quiroste village to be about 200 inhabitants. And the village, the people called their village Meteni. At the center of the village, there was one large round house with other small conical-shaped houses made of pine. The Spanish named the village Rancheria de la Casa Grande, which means big house village. This beautiful image is of a mural painted by a Santa Cruz area artist named Ann Thierman, and it is located on the UC Santa Cruz campus. I actually contacted the artist personally to ask permission to use this image, and she was lovely. And turns out she's a church organist, and we discovered that we are fellow slugs. We both went to UCSC. I mean, it's a UCSC thing. We answer our emails to each other, go slugs. That's just a thing. So Ms. Thierman did a ton of research before she painted this mural, even staging a village at Nicene Marks Park in Aptos to sort of get an idea of what the village would have looked like. And so the mural shows basically what the Quiroste village would have looked like at the time of Portola's arrival. Now, if you notice, it shows the big house and the smaller dwellings. And if you look closely, it's interesting to note that in the background, in the middle, you can see that the mountain shows an area that has been burned. So she painted it this way as an homage to the Quiroste people's practices of using controlled burns to manage the land. When Portola and his men arrived, the Quiroste received the Spanish explorers graciously and with kindness. Kind of breaks your heart. They gave them food, including a special sweet that they made out of wasp honey. I don't know who the brave souls were that dug that out, because I've been stung by a wasp and it ain't fun. But they gave them that, and they helped the visitors and guided them, eventually assisting them in discovering San Francisco Bay. From there on, the history of the Quiroste people is a very harsh and sad one. They managed to avoid the Spanish missions until 1791, when their leader, Charquín, was baptized at Mission Dolores. But Charquín quickly found mission life intolerable, and he soon escaped. Then in 1793, the Quiroste attacked Mission Santa Cruz, and Charquín was captured. Well, that was sort of the end of them. After that, the rest of the Quiroste people that had not already died from exposure to European diseases were taken into Mission Santa Clara. The Quiroste lost their land, they lost their religion, they lost their culture, And eventually they lost their identity as a separate tribe and were absorbed into that post-mission Ohlone group. Of course, along with their tribal, cultural, and religious identity, also lost were their ancient practices of tending and stewarding the land, including their practice of using controlled burns. So, I know I'm oversimplifying this, but fast forward to the year 2020, we have the CZU Lightning Complex fires. Definitely not a controlled burn, a very out of control burn. Last week we talked about the fact that it was a mega fire because it was so hot and burning in so many different places. And it started from 11,000 lightning bolts that hit that area from Boulder Creek to Pescadero to Bonnie Doon. Of course, in the aftermath of those fires, state authorities and state parks authorities have been and continue to look for better ways to manage our forests. Well, guess who they're consulting with? The Ama-Mutsun are a tribal band of Native Americans whose land was located roughly in the area of present-day Hollister. They have collaborated with archaeologists from the California State Parks and the University of California, as well as the Semper Virens Fund, which is a conservation group, to study and then begin to reintroduce traditional resource and environmental management, which the Native people had used for thousands of years before the arrival of the Europeans. In 2008, the state parks created the Quiroste Valley Cultural Preserve, which is a tract of land in the Quiroste Valley, and they agreed to consult with Native representatives to establish resource management practices and historical interpretation there. Then the Semper Virens Fund helped to pass the land on to the Ama-Mutsun band. The Ama-Mutsun are now using the area to relearn ancient land management techniques and then to teach these traditions to the younger tribe members. They founded a stewardship corps within their tribe, and the young tribe members in the stewardship corps are learning what the land was like and how it was tended before the arrival of the Europeans, and how much the land has changed since the Quiroste were forced to abandon the lands. For example, without those prescribed burns that they were doing regularly, the Douglas firs have encroached into areas that used to be grasslands. This is the type of landscape changes that may be contributing to the proliferation of wildfires in the area. As I delved into this topic, which I did this past week, I was surprised to find out that the collaboration between the state parks and Native tribes is not limited to BUTANO Park and the Quiroste Valley people. In fact, all across California, different state parks are seeking input from local tribes about how to better manage the lands and the forests. Isn't that amazing? Many parks, what's that?
I said a little late, but
You know what? Many parks such as Henry Cowell, some folks, if you've been there, you've seen that there are, like, they almost look like teepees. They've sort of pulled all the debris together and formed these conical things, and they are going to burn them. That has all been done on the advice of local tribe members. And they are also starting to burn areas that have invasive species. You know, invasive species make it really hard for the ones that are supposed to be growing there to grow, and so they burn sections and then allow the native species to come back. So this is happening all over, and all of these things help to lower the risk of wildfires. I don't know what's happening here, but bear with me. Okay, so that in itself I think is amazing. But what does this really have to do with unity? Besides the fact that I have this platform and I can say whatever I want here. Well, there actually is a connection, and it's one that I have forgotten and that I bet most of you don't know. our own co-founder, Charles Fillmore, was born on an Indian reservation and raised there for part of his childhood. I totally forgot about that. Charles's father, Henry Fillmore, had gone to St. Cloud, Minnesota as a young man, and he became a trader with the Chippewa. He settled on the Chippewa Reservation, just north of St. Cloud, and he built a log cabin there where Charles Fillmore was born on August 22nd, 1854. Yes, yesterday was his birthday. All right, if my voice will hold out, listen to this. This is from The Story of Unity by James Dillard Freeman. Charles Fillmore wrote that his childhood was romantic but crude and unprofitable. It was a kind of Huckleberry Finn existence. Hunters and trappers came and went. Roving bands of Chippewa and Sioux Indians passed by the cabin. Charles spent a great deal of time wandering in and out of the Indian lodges and teepees as freely as did the Indian children. In this way, he and his mother learned some words of the Chippewa language, which they were later able to use when a member of that tribe went to Unity School. However, there were not always peaceful relations between the native people and the white settlers. When Charles was less than 2 years old, and he and his mother were alone in their cabin, a band of painted Sioux rushed up. The leader, a towering medicine man, fantastically painted and decked in the full regalia of his profession, strode into the cabin, tore little Charles out of his mother's arms, do you remember this, Vicki? And rode away with him. It was evening before the warriors brought him back to his distracted mother. I think she was more than distracted. Distraught and like freaking the heck out. Okay, but listen to this. So he was gone for hours. Where they had taken him and what they had done with him, Charles could not remember. But he always had a feeling that they had used him in some mystical ceremony. I completely forgot about that. I read that years ago. Interesting, right? So, Charles Fillmore, of course, would go on to study many different world religions, as well as the writings of the great transcendentalists, and ultimately to co-found Unity School of Christianity. But he was clearly influenced by his early years spent among the Chippewa. How could he not be? Not to mention whatever mystical ceremony they did with him while he was a baby. It doesn't seem that he was harmed in any way. One of the things that deeply influenced Fillmore, his theology and his spirituality, was the similarities between ideas from various religions. He really liked that crossover, that intersection. And Native American spirituality, as we read those things before, tends to be quite universal and applicable, right? So there's no doubt that some of those beliefs and perspectives made their way into what we today know as unity. I can't help but think that our one power and one presence that's present in everything sounds an awful lot like the Native American Great Spirit. I think Rory might have something to do with this talk today. Many of you also knew or know of Vicky's late husband, Rory Elder, who was part Choctaw Indian. Was it his father's mother? Yeah, his father's mother. And since I have always revered and respected Native American culture and wisdom, I used to love the ways that he would incorporate some of those things into our Sunday services. And when you guys were doing that song today, it reminded me, remember that guy Martin, who used to play the American flute? Wow, that would just transport me. One of my favorite things, and that I remember best about how he would do this, is that he would use this phrase every Sunday, I guess at the beginning of the service, Aho Mutakuyasin, which means roughly all my relations. It's a Lakota phrase that's used by many Native Americans to capture that idea that we are all interrelated, that the forests and the rivers and oceans and animals are all our relations. and that we should treat them as such. Sounds kind of like unity, oneness. Most importantly, I think, is that unity teaches us to respect and honor all paths to God. This means that we believe that other religions and spiritualities have just as much value as our own, that they are all valid paths to the divine. And we like to draw from the similarities between religions, when appropriate, to emphasize universal truths. The fact that the California state parks are consulting with local tribes to learn and implement ancient native land stewardship practices does not erase or even begin to erase the horrific history of Native Americans in California. It does not begin to undo the horrors of the mission system. It cannot obviously undo what has been done, but it is a step in the right direction. It's a move that finally shows some respect for the people who lived on and lovingly tended those lands for thousands of years. It's an acknowledgement that those people lived much closer to the land than we do today, and that they might know a little more about how it works and what it needs, you know? And they might have understood better how to live in harmony with the land and its inhabitants. Reintroducing land stewardship practices from the old times can help us to reduce the destruction of uncontrolled wildfires. And teaching these practices to young tribe members can foster self-respect and teach young people to be proud of their heritage. Also, we can't heal the tragic events of our collective past until we have learned about them. And that's the work that I'm doing. Trying to learn and understand what happened. And we need to learn enough to be able to acknowledge what happened and own it. Only then can the healing begin. We can't move forward as a nation without acknowledging the horrors that were inflicted upon the Native people of this country and working to heal that past. Many Native spiritual leaders have long said that one day there would be a return to the ancient ways. In one of the readings we had today, the Oglala Lakota Sioux Crazy Horse talked about how the Red Nation shall rise again and be a blessing for a sick world. I certainly think that there's much for us to learn from the Native ways, and it is my wish that more and more of us would begin to understand and live into the meaning of that phrase that Rory said every week. Aho, Mitakuye Oasin, all my relations. We are all an interconnected web of life. And what we do to one of us, we do to the whole web. At every Church of the Wild meeting, we say, may we learn to live in harmony with all our relations. And so I say today, may it be so. spend some moments returning to the land of our soul. Just getting comfortable in your seat, feeling into your body, noticing what's present here this morning. Sensations in your body or emotions, feelings that you may be having. Just inviting it all to belong. Not resisting or avoiding anything, but letting it all be present. Holding it in this sacred space. In this sacred now moment. Sometimes when our minds don't remember, our bodies remember. They remember the drumbeat. They remember what it feels like to stand under a waterfall. To look up at a giant redwood tree and feel so humbled. Our bodies know and long to connect with the natural world. And the natural world can be the flower growing up in the sidewalk, in the crack of the sidewalk in front of your house, or the crows that visit your back porch. Or it can be the ocean, or a park, or the forest. All of the beings that inhabit these places are our relations. We are part of that web of life. The sooner we learn to take our place in the web of life, the sooner we can begin to heal what has been lost. Taking a deep breath in now. Sighing it out. Opening your heart and mind to receive this earth prayer by the Oglala Lakota holy man, Black Elk. Hey, learn to hear my feeble voice. At the center of the sacred hoop, you have said that I should make the tree to bloom. With tears running, O great spirit, my grandfather, with running eyes, I must say, the tree has never bloomed. Here I stand, and the tree is withered. Again, I recall the great vision you gave me. It may be that some little root of the sacred tree still lives. Nourish it then, that it may leaf and bloom and fill with singing birds. Hear me, that the people may once again find the good road and the shielding tree. So I invite you to just let those words land where they will, in your heart, in your body, in your soul, as you rest for a moment in the silence. It may be that some little root of the sacred tree still lives. Nourish it then, that it may leaf and bloom and fill with singing birds.
Return
prayer and this song to the people of the Quiroste Valley who tended the land for thousands of years. May we learn to live in harmony with all our relations. Aho, Mitakuias. And so it is. Amen.
Well, we've reached the time in our service when we have another opportunity to become an active flow of God's good in the world with our tithes, our offerings, and our consciousness. Unity of Monterey Bay is the collective consciousness and commitment of all of us who are giving of our time, treasure, and talent in order to sustain this spiritual community that is dedicated to transforming lives. We know that prosperity is a state of mind that finds blessings in every situation and abundance in joyous generosity. We transform all appearances of fear or lack into faith-filled peace of mind by shifting our attention to thoughts of gratitude for the abundance of God's good in our lives. And to show that Michelle is not the only one who can tell a story and then say, but what does that have to do with that? Which I love, by the way. I have one for you. So in about a month, I'm going to Israel. Yes, it's a war zone. I'm going on vacation. And so I've been thinking a lot about fear and about security. And then I realized I've been injured twice, seriously, in the last couple of years. The first time, I fell down my own stairs and knocked out my front teeth. And then a few years later, in fact, just recently, many of you have been kind enough not to mention the black eye and the blue face, I was walking my adorable little dog, who decided to run crosswise in front of me and trip me with his leash. And I looked like I'd been in a fight that I'd lost. I've been injured twice because I wasn't mindful. One of the things that always strikes me about stories of Native Americans is how mindful they were, how conscious they were every minute about the environment they were in. So I figured if I just up my consciousness, the fact that I'm going to go vacation in the war zone won't actually matter. As the ushers come forward, I invite you to think of something specific that you're grateful for in this moment. And now, with our hearts and minds overflowing with gratitude, we breathe into the divine flow of God's good, trusting that we are enough, that we have enough, and that there always is enough both to have and to share. For those of you who give online through our website or set up monthly auto payments from your bank, or give by credit card, we are grateful. We ask that you join us in faith and gratitude as we pass the offering basket this morning by holding and blessing the basket as it passes to you. And now please join me in our offertory blessing. I am an open channel for God's infinite good, divine love flowing through me, blesses and multiplies everything
and give thanks for these gifts and offerings that demonstrate our collective commitment to the spiritual work of love and transformation in our lives and in our world. We dedicate this offering, our lives, and this ministry to more fully expressing the Christ light that is the truth of our being, and inviting all people to know God's love. Finally, knowing that one with God all things are possible, we affirm together that the good is now, the rest is blessed, and the best is yet to be in our lifetime. Amen. Thank you, God. Thank you, ushers. And we also, for our music today, want to thank, I don't think this is, I think some of this is from last week.
There are overlaps.
Denise will play.
There are overlaps.
Okay. Raphael Simcha Khan,
Yeah, that's the song.
Shlomo Karlbach,
Yep.
Suryadas, and Idra Polgrim Arthur. Yeah. Okay. And of course, our awesome music team led by Denise with Sue, and we have John with us today. I'm not singing today. I'm barely talking. I'm not sick. I feel fine. I don't know what's going on.
Smoke.
It's been like this all week. It could be the smoke inhalation and all the hiking. I've been like really breathing in deeply, so maybe that's it. For announcements, check the e-blast. There is just one more summer dinner that you can still sign up for, September 26th. Patio barbecue and music hosted by Marianne and Sue. Today is Church of the Wild. We meet at 2 p.m. at Via Paraiso. Bring a camp chair. If you want to know more about what that is, you can see me after the service. Next Sunday is the 5th Sunday. It will be Building Fund Sunday, so this is just a heads up if you'd like to prepare an extra offering for our building, which is always in need of some TLC. And our anniversary banquet, our spooky celebration, is Friday, October 23rd. You can sign up in the Sacred Grounds, and we're still collecting auction items. Martha's not here today, but if you have questions, you can see someone from the board or Vicky or myself about that. Keep those auction items coming in. All right. As we bring our service to a close, we are just so grateful that you've joined us, whether you're here in person with us, you're watching us on Facebook Live, or you're tuning in later on our YouTube channel. We're just so glad that you've joined us and found us, and we hope we've made you feel at home in our community, and most importantly, we want you to know that wherever you are in your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. Our prayer chaplain on duty today is Sue. She's available to pray with you after the service, so thank you, Sue, and thank you to all our prayer chaplains for holding the high watch for our community. Okay. Before we form our closing circle, let's do our responsive reading for our nation. We believe in the sacred potential of our country and the divine intelligence guiding its path.
We affirm that wisdom, compassion, and justice are rising in the hearts of all people.
In a world that cries out for healing, we listen deeply for spiritual truth.
We open to the wisdom that leads to wholeness for all.
We do not surrender to fear, division, or despair.
We anchor ourselves in faith, courage, and shared humanity.
We call forth leaders who are guided by integrity and vision.
We affirm solutions that uplift both personal freedom and collective care.
May this nation grow in love, unity, and awakening.
And may we each be instruments of peace, justice, and joy.
And all the people said,
Amen.
let's form our closing circle for our prayer for protection and our peace song.
Just wanted to say it's so nice to see Helene and Larry here today. We miss you guys.
So, as we form this circle of prayer, as we do each week, I invite us all to hold in this circle the descendants of all those who were in the mission system that are still living in these areas. and still carry the traumas of the past. Just holding them in our hearts, wishing for a different future for all of us. And lifting them up in prayer as we join in our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love